What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we finally have the full set list for Starter Deck 8, that Luffy Starter Deck, which means we can have a good old look at Starter Deck 8, that Luffy Starter Deck. So let's start off with the leader. That seems like a sensible place to start. Now obviously we've got a monocolor leader here, so we're talking 5 life, 5,000 power. And we've got a skill on your turn. When a character is KO'd, give up to 1 rested Don to this leader. So we're not playing around with black cards in terms of lowering cost, although you obviously still can. This is very much a case of KO characters, give yourself rested Don, smash with leader Luffy. It's a weirder kind of skill. It's not my favourite, but I do think there is an aggressive deck you can make here where you KO lots of characters, give lots of Don to Luffy, and smash. And do please remember, it does not say once per turn, which means if you can KO lots of characters, Luffy can get lots of Don and absolutely smash. Now, one of the 2 designated super rares in the deck is Uta, 2 cost 3,000 power. This character cannot be KO'd by battling against a leader. That's a useful kind of skill. Ha, leader can't take me down. And activate main, you may rest this card, give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 cost during this turn. I like it, honestly. Again, I've said the leader doesn't force you into this kind of skill, but it's still absolutely a possibility. And this is one of those ones where it's every turn, activate main, give a character -2 cost, and they cannot KO you with their leader. Now, they can still KO you with any of their characters. It's not exactly some kind of like silver bullet, but still, it's quite a nice skill, and we like it. And it's the only time we're going to go out of order. I do think it's worth looking at the 2 super rares side by side. The other one we've got here is SHANK'S. And we got 9 cost, 10,000 power. You'll notice neither of the super rares here have counter. They're too good. On play, you may trash 1 card from your hand to KO all characters with a cost of 1 or less. This could be absolutely devastating. And yes, I am fully aware that this is a case of, well, hang on a second, how many characters are going to have 1 cost or less? But remember the secret rare Kazan that means that all characters of your opponents have 5 minus cost? So that already basically means all your opponent's characters with 6 cost or less, and then you can use stuff like Uta to bring it down even further. This is kind of awkward and combo-y, but when it works, you're board wiping your opponent, and that's absolutely hilarious. Yay! Now, we do have Gaimon coming around here. Now, Gaimon is just a vanilla card, honestly. That's all we got from Gaimon. Sorry about that. 2 cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000. It's exactly what we expect from vanilla cards. A power, 2 more than the cost, plus the counter. Job's a good one. It's not terribly exciting, I'll be honest with you, but you know, it's there, and it needs to be borne in mind. Now, we do have Koby coming around in this deck here as well. This is one of the cards we've not yet had a chance to look at. Sounds like we should have a look at it now. 4 cost, 1,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And what we've got here is activate main. You may rest this character to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. But again, it's not really a cost of 2 or less. Combine this with Uta and you're KOing a character with a cost of 4 or less. And this is the kind of thing that black cards do. Lower cost, take advantage of that lower cost. That works out pretty gosh darn nicely for me. I like this. The 4 cost 1,000 power is harsh, but the fact that you can basically KO a character every turn without even battling, that sounds good to me. Oh, I should mention I did most of these translations myself, but I have checked with the lovely folks over at onepiece-cardgame.dev, and I have checked with the lovely Orange Samurai D over on Facebook, who's checked with the lovely folks on the Discord. So I think we're looking pretty gosh darn good here. Shirahoshi, who I don't think we've seen in the card game yet, but as always, please do correct me if I am wrong here. And what we've got here is 4 cost, 0 power, yowza, counter plus 1,000, but we've got blocker, and on play, give one of your opponent's characters -4 cost for the turn. Now, let's be honest here, when you block, you done, alright, you got no power. You're probably not going to get much done in terms of blocking. But what you're doing here is you're stopping an attack, which is nice, And you're putting -4 to a cost when you play, which is quite a lot, honestly. And I think those two skills combined, pretty good, honestly. That sounds fine by me. Now, we do have NEFERTARI Vivi coming in here as well. What we've got here is free cost, 1,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And we've got blocker and a trigger that says play this card. And that is a good combo of skills. And again, like we just said with a 0 power blocker, you got 1,000 power here. You're not going to be blocking much and surviving. That's really not the point here. That is not the goal of this card. The goal of this card is to stop exactly one attack. You're going to go down when you do, that's fine, but you get to stop one attack as you do so, and also, you get to play this card as a trigger, so if this card ends up in your life, you basically get a free blocker that stops an attack, and I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, the combination of not having to pay and having a blocker that can stop an attack, I think that sounds pretty gosh darn good. I'm putting that one out there. Now, Higuma is a card, and I've actually just started reading the manga for One Piece. I've realised that 1,000 episodes of the show is going to take too long, whereas if I read it, I can read it much faster. So from now on, I'm going to be reading One Piece, and then in terms of watching, I'm just going to concentrate on the films, because the films are going to be all fancy, and I think that's a good way to do it. And I'll probably still watch the anime nice and slowly, but I want to catch up with One Piece, and I think the manga's the way to do it. Well, having just read the first issue of the manga, this picture makes perfect sense to me. I know who Higuma is, and I know what's going on here. In terms of the card, one costs 2,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and on play, give one of your opponent's characters -2 cost for the turn. This is about as generic and boring as a black card is going to get, but it's still lowering a cost by 2 for only 1 cost for yourself. It's not bad, it's just a really uninspiring card. Now, there is a new Makino coming in, and again, just read issue 1, know exactly who Makino is now. And we've got 2 cost, 0 power, counter plus 2,000. We've got to have a counter plus 2,000, that's what we've got going on here. And on play, if there is any character in play with a cost of 0, draw a card. Well, I've already shown you 2 0-cost characters in this deck alone. Plus, let's remember that the whole point of black decks is that they're trying to lower your opponent's cost, so there should be a 0-cost character. So you've got counter plus 2,000, which is good, and you've got a skill which is essentially when you play it, you draw a card. Both of these are pretty gosh darn good, and we kind of like them. Now, there is a new Monkey to Garp coming along here. We got 5 cost, 7,000 power, counter plus 1,000. It's a vanilla card, and I have very little else to say about it. It is your ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill vanilla card. There is nothing particularly good or fancy about it. And we've finally seen Luffy. Now, this is, of course, the artwork we saw on the front of the starter deck, and we've seen it being used in various other places as well. This is artwork that they've really started taking advantage of. The Psycho Jump play sheet is using this artwork because it's on the front of the starter deck. It's really special, right? Nah, it's like a really generic vanilla card. Free cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000. It's actually not special at all. They've made a really big deal about this card, but it's actually not special even a little bit. Now, Laboon is also a vanilla card that isn't special, but I've got to point out, this for me, it's probably a top 5 artwork in the One Piece TCG so far. I absolutely adore this artwork. And look, it's 4 cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000. It's your generic vanilla card. But goodness me, it's worth it for the artwork alone. This is the kind of artwork I would love to get a clean version of this artwork and just blow it up and put it up in my studio. I adore this artwork. Card-wise, meh, nobody cares. But oh my word, I love the artwork here. It is stunning. Now, the last character we've got here is another new one we've not had a chance to look at before. We've got Mr. 2 Bonclay Bentham, cost 5, 6,000 power, and Don X1. At the end of the battle in which this character battles an opponent's character, you may KO your opponent's character that battled. If you do, KO this character. It's very wordy. And I'll be honest with you, this is one of the ones where I use the Discord translation to try and get the wording a bit straighter. It's a super wordy, confusing card, but basically what it means is If you battle a character, you can choose to KO both of them. That is, a character you battled and this dude. Cool. So basically, it lets you take out any character you like. That's good. But at the cost of having to give this up, that's not so good. We'll have to wait and see. Now, we do have a couple of event cards coming in here as well, including Gum Gum Bell, a 2-cost card. And main says, you may add the top card of your life to your hand and give -7 cost to up to one of your opponent's characters for the turn. Now, putting life in your hand is generally a yellow thing here. This is not usually what we see. However, it's a 2-cost card that can -7 from one of your opponent's character's cost. That is huge, and that's why you have to take a life to do so. Remember, Koby can KO a 2-cost or less character, so combine it with this event card and you've actually got Koby KOing a 9-cost character. That's kind of redonkulous, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why we see this. And then we've got Gum Gum Pistol that I showed you the other day. 3-cost card, KO a 2-cost or less character, and as a trigger, draw a card. Both of them pretty gosh darn nice, and as I told you the other day, Black is actually building up quite a nice staple of event cards that draw as triggers. It's one of the things that Black is getting pretty good at doing. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, those are all of the cards from Starter Deck 8. It took a little bit of a while, but we now do finally have the full deck list. In terms of which cards are 2-ofs and which are 4-ofs, I cannot tell you that yet. We'll have to wait for official confirmation. I can tell you that the 2 super rares, that being Uta and SHANK'S, they will be 2-ofs. As for which other ones will be 2-ofs, I don't know. But you know when I get a full deck list, and I can tell you I absolutely will. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about these. I want to know which of these cards you like. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus pods, join a Discord and chat with us, all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.